It is time for your digital daily Bible study. Jonathan Heron coming to you from my office here at Life Church's Saginaw location. There you are. That's the office. We are in Romans chapter 10. I'm looking at the English Standard Version of the Bible, the ESV. This is what I use a lot on Sundays. And Romans 10 is just Paul sharing his heart for his people, the Hebrews. He says in Romans chapter 10 verse 1, brothers, my heart's desire and prayer to God for them is that they may be saved. So we need to be rescued from something. You and I, we are constantly rebelling against God. And that leads us on a highway to hell. And so Paul, right away in Romans 10, verse 1, he says, listen, my heart, my zeal, my passion is that they, the Hebrews, the Jews, may be saved. That's part of the fuel behind Paul's fire. You know, he works 9-to-5 jobs on the side, being a tent maker, but that's not what he was made to do. That just pays the bills. He was made to start churches, to be a church planter, and to share the gospel, to invite people to church. So his day job, that just pays the bills for his ministry. So that's a good question for you. What is your ministry? Whether you're a stay-at-home dad or you work 9-to-5, mama, what is your ministry? And how are you able to connect people in your neighborhood, your household, your workplace? How do you connect them or invite them into a journey, a faith journey? Like, see what God can do through you. Because Paul unpacks this a little bit more in Romans 10. He talks about this message of salvation. And he says in Romans 10, verse 9, one of my favorite verses, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Sometimes in the front lobby, after a worship experience, someone will come up to me and say, okay, Pastor, what does it mean? How do I know that I'm a follower of Christ? How do I know that I've been saved? And time after time, I point them to this verse, Romans 10:9. If you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord. Elsewhere in the scriptures, it says that no one can say Jesus is Lord unless the Holy Spirit is within them. And that's a spiritual reality. It's also a political reality, because in ancient Rome, you would say Caesar is Lord. If you said anyone else is master other than the emperor, it's off with your head. And so Paul is saying politically, he's saying spiritually, that God, the Holy Spirit, if he is in you, you can't help but confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord, and you believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, literally, historically, then you will be saved. And then he asks these questions after unpacking this. In verse 13, he says, for everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. So how then will they call on him in whom they have not believed? How are they to believe in him of whom they have never heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching? And how are they to preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news. But they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah says, Lord, who has believed what he has heard from us? So faith comes from hearing, and hearing through the word of Christ. So Paul says, man, my heart is to reach as many people as possible, to empty out hell and to make heaven crowded. How is anyone going to be rescued, who's going to receive Christ unless we step up to the plate and we reach the lost at any cost. If we want people to confess Jesus as Lord and believe in their heart God raised him from the dead, then we have to go and preach and reach. For how beautiful are the feet of those who come bearing good news. And he says that faith comes from hearing. So that's why the Sunday worship experience is so important in the lives of both the irreligious and followers of Christ. Because faith comes through hearing the preached word of Jesus Christ. So preaching is biblical. It goes back to the very foundation. Faith comes from hearing. And hearing through the word of Christ. So that's Paul's heart in Romans 10. He doesn't want anybody to slip through the cracks. He seeks to inspire people to follow Jesus. And that's our heartbeat at Life Church. We want to inspire people to follow Jesus. That's why we do what we do. We want to endear our community. We want people to say, man, I not only know that Life Church exists, but I'm glad they exist. I'm glad they're part of our region. Man, I would miss Life Church if it were suddenly gone. We want to endear our community. That's why we do Faith and Family Night at Dow Diamond. That's why we do National Night Out, partnering with local law enforcement to throw a party for area families. That's why we do the Easter egg helicopter drop. We want to endear our community, just love on our community, no strings attached. When we do an outreach, we don't charge admission because it makes no sense to put up any kind of hurdle between someone far from God and the heart of God. So we want to endear our community. We want to inspire the audience. So every Sunday, we want people to have a holy wow experience. We want people to say, man, I am so glad I came here. I can't wait to come back next Sunday. I was talking to my new friend Jess. She discovered Life Church on Easter Sunday of this year by attending our Midland location. And this summer we paused Midland campus. Everybody's together here at Saginaw campus. And she's been attending every single Sunday. She is fired up about her faith. She said she loves the music. She said she's learning so much from the messages. Like, you can't get bored at Life Church. You can't fall asleep. And so now Jess is starting to film with our film crew or production crew, the welcome videos. And she's been inviting everybody she knows on Facebook. She just tags all of her Facebook friends and says, y'all are going to come sit with me. And she had a friend come and sit with her for the very first time this past Sunday at Life Church. And her friend, was kind of quiet, kind of was just taking it all in. It's a lot, right? And I guess she was excited because Jess told me yesterday while she was filming this weekend's welcome video, she said her friend texted her and said, hey, I'm going to bring my two kids this Sunday. And Jess was like squealing. She's like, this is so great. I'm so happy. And she's coming back with me. And then I got a message on Facebook from Jess today saying, hey, my friend, she wants to help volunteer at National Night Out. She wants to help represent Life Church and just love on area families in the community. And Jess is like, is that okay? And I'm like, yes. We don't need permission to serve and to make Christ known. I mean, that's part of the deal of inspiring an audience and then engaging our core, recruiting, training teenagers and men and women, lifers, to roll up our sleeves and serve and give generously and invite people into this journey we're on together. That's Paul. 1 Corinthians 11, verse 1, Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ. And that's what we want to do in our workspaces, in our neighborhoods, is to say to people, I don't claim to have all the answers, but I know the one who does. Follow me. Come sit with me Sunday as I follow Christ. I'm on this journey too, and faith is a journey, not a guilt trip. So let me wrap this up by saying I hope that you'll join us this Sunday, 9:30 and 11:15, in person and online live. We'll be diving into the final section of Romans together this Sunday. It's going to be a blast. You want to invite some friends to sit with you, or if showing up in person is not your deal just yet, invite some friends over to your apartment, or invite some friends over for brunch at your house. Tune in together on the big screen, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and see what God might do through you. Because just as Paul said, my heart's desire and prayer to God for them is that they may be saved. Thanks for tuning into the Digital Daily Bible Study. You can always catch up by subscribing to Digital Daily Bible Study Podcast on Spotify. Past editions are on our website, Life Church Michigan.